If you think about it, the Biden White House is relying on TikTok influencers, OnlyFans porn stars, and journalists to get him across the finish line. And the only difference between the journalists and the first two is that the journalists are too stupid to get paid for the propaganda.
OnlyFans creator Farrah Khalidi, who you might know from the Whatever podcast, or if you're simp, you probably pay her on OnlyFans, says that she was paid by the Biden administration to spread, quote, political propaganda, end quote, and was told to not disclose that her videos were ads. Now, she goes on to say that the Biden administration reached out to her because they wanted a darker skinned person spreading the, quote, political propaganda, the way she describes it, for Joe Biden. Now, let's not forget that back in 2020, Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump in the election with a whopping 80 million votes. The most votes of a president in history was given to Joe Biden, and he was dubbed the most popular president of all time. Now, think of it that way. The most popular president ever, Joe Biden. He's so popular at this point that he has to pay people to support him. Let's roll the clip.
TikTok was basically full-time for me. I think I was taking ads by the time I graduated college from like the Biden administration and Planned Parenthood and like dating apps and stuff. So it was like fully financially, sustaining.
So you were getting, the Biden administration was buying ads from you?
Yeah, I was doing full-on political propaganda.
And they would just, really, with like what kind of, like, Biden created 10 million jobs
this year? Honestly. And the funny thing is, they're like, do not disclose this is an ad, because, they're like, technically it's not a product, so you don't have to disclose it's an ad. Because I think they just wanted like some edgy girl of color to just tell people, like, when they nominated like Ketanji Brown Jackson, they're like, can you say, like, as a person of color, that you feel reflected? And it's like a white woman emailing this to me, and she's like giving me this script, and I'm like, no. And she's like, please. And I'm like, no, I'll like talk about the news of it, but I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to have a white person tell me to be like, this is how I feel as a person of color. Like, it's just so, I think that black-pilled me slightly on like, political propaganda stuff.
So the Biden administration sees, here's this young,
yeah, I mean, they use like a conduit. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not Biden, but it's like a third party. You know what I mean? It's like a media company that's doing it on his behalf. I'm not blaming him for this.
Yeah. And the message is like, because you're a dark-skinned woman, you will be inspired by Ketanji Brown Jackson and all the kids should support her.
Yeah, they're like, basically as like another black person, just say that like you feel reflected by Ketanji. I'm like, no, I'll talk about like Ketanji's background and her accomplishments, but like I never.
Ketanji Brown Jackson, if you don't remember, was the woman that didn't know what a woman was.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
The meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the law and I decide. So I'm not.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about.
Okay, so obviously Ketanji Brown Jackson is not a biologist, so she can't answer what is a woman. This is the propaganda right here. And mind you, she was nominated by the Biden administration back in 2022 to spread this type of propaganda here, that you can't even answer what is a woman. This is our elected officials that's pushed by the Biden administration. Now, this is the first time Joe Biden's paid a OnlyFans model to endorse him. But this isn't the first time that Joe Biden hasn't paid actual influencers online. The influential Democratic PAC is spending $1 million for its first ever, quote, creator program, enlisting 150 influencers to post on social media in the 2024 election cycle. So this goes on to prove that Joe Biden's a fake. In fact, back in 2022, Joe Biden already paid influencers to go and tell their audience to support the war over there in Ukraine. Check this out.
It seems insane, but this is true. To help in the ongoing war in Ukraine, the White House is enlisting TikTok stars. It is all in an effort to get their message out, stop disinformation, and reach audiences that are more and more finding their news on the platform. A few days ago, the White House met with 30 TikTok stars on a Zoom call. The Biden administration wanted to share information about current policies towards Russia and answer any questions that the creators had. It is an idea so wild it was the subject of Saturday Night Live's Cold Open sketch last night.
This isn't the first time he's used TikTok influencers. He's paid them off to push particular agendas that his administration is pushing. This is, if anybody is you see anybody out there that supports this dirty old fucking fart of a man, more than likely they're paid off. Which leads me to this Gen Z TikTok influencer, Chris Morway, who has been accused multiple times of being a shill for the Democratic Party.
Oh my goodness, the number one storyline from last night, the number one thing trending on Twitter, Gen Z. Guess who showed up to save democracy? 70% of us who voted for Democrats. There was no red wave. You know why? Because of people like me. And guess what? This generation is fucking fed up. And better yet, 50% of us can't even fucking vote yet. And we vote for Democrats. So I promise you, get excited. The next 4, 8, 10 years, it's going to be a progressive wave because of people like us. Let's fucking go. I've been saying this. I wasn't lying to you. I wasn't.
Now, unfortunately, because of the school system and social media, Gen Zers are at an all-time low IQ to the point where this kid, along with his friend that looks just like him, went on the Tim Dillon show and totally got exposed.
Talking about one side,
right?
And you're saying, and I don't know, I've never seen a video of you guys criticizing Democrats. I've never seen a video of you guys being introspective at all. In the sense that, like, it just seems like you're cheerleaders for one side instead of going, hey, I'm a young guy, I want to be involved, and I'm passionate about this, but like, yeah, maybe our side isn't perfect in this way and that way.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like it's actually really hard in this space, right? Like we have like 45 seconds to record a video, keep people's attention. And a lot of the people on our side, like if they start hearing, like I've actually done it before. I've criticized like Democrats, like specifically Hakeem Jeffries, and it all just went south. Like I started losing followers. Like it's bad, right? And I really want to be that person that like reaches the other side because Democrats, I mean, they're horrible at their jobs, right? They do a lot of shitty things, although I'll vote for them all the time. But it's also hard in the space to criticize them.
That's good. Can we clip that quote?
Please,
They're horrible
please
at their
don't.
jobs and do shitty things.
Please don't clip
for
that.
them.
Please, no, please.
So as you can see, even these little fuckheads over here know for a fact that their own party, the Democrats, don't know how to run the country. But they themselves need to shut the fuck up and go with the narrative. Why? Probably because I believe they're being paid by the Democratic Party. But here's what they had to say about it.
What's the deal with you? Because everybody says you're like paid by the DNC. Everybody says you're shills, right? Or a lot of people, not everybody, but there's a group of people on the internet saying that because you guys scream at your phone, you have very passionate videos about that you love Biden. Are you guys paid DNC shills?
No, that's just like a conspiracy that's been crafted on Twitter specifically in the recent days, that we've received money from the DNC. We've never received money from the DNC. If the DNC was paying people, we should be first in line with how much we promote Biden.
Yeah,
because you put out all of these videos all the time. You should get money.
Yeah,
I mean, go get money. If you're not getting money, go get money.
And we received $0 from the DNC for it. And like, I don't know, it's just been a crazy couple of days, as you've seen. There's been like 70 million views on this story. And for us, it's just a little frustrating because like real issues going on. There's actual things affecting real Americans. And we're trying to like talk about that stuff. We're not trying to talk about the DNC paying people, which is not even real.
So there you guys have it. Straight from the horse's mouth, Jake. They said it straight from the horse's mouth. They're not being paid by any type of Democratic Party at all. Now, just to prove to you guys that these little shits are being paid by the Democratic Party, that the Joe Biden administration wants these young TikTok influencers to tell their audience that Joe Biden is great. This is why Joe Biden got interviewed by Cardi B. This is why Joe Biden gets endorsed by Taylor Swift, because all those celebrities, all of their fans are fucking retards. But guess what? Even a fucking retard's vote still counts. So because half of the country are fucking retards, they're going to go after them and in hopes to stay in power. Check this out.
Using a very simple example, I'm going to show you how a story becomes an angle. And today's example are these two guys. Harry Sison, who you know is typical Democrat, and his buddy Chris Mowry. Now, the general way that a story begins is that a reporter sees something that doesn't quite make sense to them. And in this case, the thing that doesn't make sense is how have these two guys gained such traction so quickly? I mean, if you look at Harry's Twitter account, it literally says it was made in December 2011 when he would have only been 8 years old. Chris Mowry says he only sent his first political tweet a couple months ago and is not owned by any administration and doesn't work for the DNC. So you see that and you think to yourself, how did these guys blow up so quickly into these liberal TikTok stars? Well, the second part of a story is you look at a common denominator between the two things that don't make sense. And if you look at the bios of those two guys, they have the same exact email address, PalletMGMT. So now we figure out what exactly that is. And they have a website, Palette Management. It says that they are a talent management company that represents brands and content creators. It says that they provide public relations services and they even have an in-house counsel. So Chris and Harry, whose content is pretty much identical to each other, also have the same talent management company. At which point you get to step 3, figure out who's funding all of this. And a quick check of FEC records shows that Palette Management is being paid by the Democrat National Committee. They were paid over $200,000 for paid media and online advertising. When a bunch of liberal content creators visited the White House a couple months ago, the trip was organized with the help of the founder of Palette Management. And the DNC even paid them a retainer in order to cover their travel costs and expenses. So there you have it, folks. They claim they're not being paid, but they are in fact being paid. Whenever you see something like this, it never happens naturally. There's always somebody or something behind the scenes controlling everything. And in this case, it's the DNC that's paying these kids a lot of money through a talent management company in order to spread their propaganda online. If I wanted to go even further on this story, I would look up what their parents do for a living. If I had to take a wild guess, I would say that it's probably something corporate in high finance, something that would get you very well connected politically. And finally, you come up with a juicy headline to put on top of it.
So there you guys have it. If you didn't believe me before, if you don't believe me before, just look at the evidence. Look at right in front of you and critically think in order to figure this out. It's easy to show that Joe Biden wants to take over the young brains, the stupid brains. He gets stupid people like your Cardi B's, your Taylor Swift, your TikTok influencers to influence the youth and the dumb, because even a retard has the same voting power as somebody who's actually educated. With that being said, guys, I'm your host, Jake Varr. Trump 2024. Comment, like, and subscribe to all of the good stuff for more content. And I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been Project VO Pod. Peace.